Welcome to the Connected Mom Podcast, where we have real conversations, helping you to connect more deeply with God, more empathically with your fellow moms, and more intentionally with your child. I am Becky Harling. I'm your host. And today I have one of my favorite guests with us. She's back for a second time, and I just love her to death. And I know you're going to love her too. It is New York Times bestselling author, Paine. And Crystal is not only a successful author, but she has 5 kids. Is that correct, Crystal, or do you have 6?
We have 6.
6. I was close, but that makes you a hero in my eyes. I mean, 6 kids is a lot, right? So first of all, let's start with, tell us about your 6 kids. What are their age ranges and all of that?
We have 19, 17, 15, and our 19-year-old and our 17-year-old are both graduated, and our oldest is starting her second year of college, and then our 17-year-old just graduated, and she's going to take a gap year, and then our 15-year-old is starting high school, and then we had 10 years of secondary infertility, and then we have a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Our second 4-year-old was adopted from foster care and has a lot of social needs disabilities. He has Down syndrome as well as a cleft lip and palate and a feeding tube and just a lot of cognitive delays because he was born at 27 weeks and had a lot of malnourishment. And so he has been just such a gift to our home and also taught us so much and just really slowed us down in the best of ways.
I love that, Crystal, so much. I have a deep heart for adoption. And, one of my grandchildren is adopted. And so I love that you guys did that. But one of the things that's kind of your specialty is saving money, which, man, we all need that right now. I mean, right? The economy is bad. Prices have gone up. Interest rates have gone up. And as moms, you're trying to provide for your kids. And, as we're recording this, it's back to school. But really, this episode could air anytime because moms are always looking to save money. So I want to talk a little bit about that. How did you get into that, for starters? Okay,
yes,
what year was that?
I've been blogging about saving money since 2006-ish. I started blogging in 2004, 2005, and really found out that something that people were hungry for was ways to save money. And I come from a family of 9. There were 7 kids in my family. I was homeschooled, and part of my home ec was to do the menu planning, the grocery shopping, and the cooking for a family of 9 for 2 years. And so got lots of hands-on experience, and my mom was really good about teaching us to stick with a budget. And she actually is the one who introduced me to coupons, and she gave me this big tub that had all these dividers in it when I got married with her couponing system. And so she really set me up for success. And so when my husband and I got married, we set this audacious goal that he was going to go through law school. We were going to stay out of debt. And then the rubber really met the road because we realized, it's easy to say, I trust God. God always provides. But when you don't know how you're going to pay your rent check that month, you don't know how you're going to put food on the table, you really have to trust God at a new level. And so we learned to maximize the mileage of our money. I was so grateful for what my mom had taught me and really was able to stand on her shoulders and learn a lot of new skills that allowed us to be able to live on a beans and rice budget, literally a beans and rice budget, many weeks. We didn't have, I remember we would buy 1 bag of frozen chicken and that would last us for 2 weeks. That was the only meat that we would have. And just whatever was on sale, whatever I could get almost free or free with coupons, that's what we ate. That's what we, made do with. And God was so faithful. And I also just learned a lot of creative ways to really pinch pennies, but also to be content. And so from that, I started sharing with my friends things that I was learning, things that were working for me. And people started just asking me more and more questions. And I was trying to figure out a way to make money online as well. So I had dabbled with blogging and then just kind of fell into discovering that people were really interested in, how are you living on such a small budget? Because some weeks our grocery budget was $30 a week for the 2 of us.
Yeah, but still in the 2000s and living on $30 a week as a food budget, that's crazy.
And that was all of we obviously couldn't afford to go out to eat. So that was every single one of our meals. But so some weeks we didn't even have that because our budget would be so tight. So some weeks it was $17. I remember, sharing about that and just getting really creative. And so then I just started sharing on this blog that I had then. And from there, so many people were interested that I ended up starting moneysavingmom.com in 2007. And it just took off far beyond what we could have ever dreamed or imagined. And so it's been years that we've been doing that. It's kind of morphed and changed because digital coupons are more the thing now, and you can buy groceries on Amazon. So we share lots of different ways to save, not just going in store and using a paper coupon like it was in the original days, but still just getting the opportunity to really impact and help people to be intentional with their finances. It's something I'm super passionate about because I really believe that if we can get our finances in order, not only does it alleviate so much stress in our homes, but also it allows us to be able to be in a position to give generously. And so I see the why isn't just about saving money so that you can save money, but saving money for a purpose so that you can have less stress in your home and be able to give more generously.
I love all of this so much. Okay, so first give us some tips. Okay, so you used coupons, and I remember my in-laws used coupons a lot. I was actually awful at this, Crystal, just to true confessions. Okay. But my in-laws always used coupons. They would cut them out of the newspaper and the magazine and everything, but then they would have to run all over town. And I never had the time to run all over town to these different stores, so where's the balance there, and how did you figure that out?
Well, I think it changes based upon your personality and also your season of life. So early on, when I just had 2 little kids and I had a lot of time and not very much money, I would go to multiple stores and I would clip all the coupons and, was spending a lot of time, but also saving a lot of money for doing it. Now with 6 kids, I actually have groceries delivered to my door. But here's the thing. I found Kroger. They're not nationwide, but they are in a lot of different cities and states. And they're also our Kroger affiliates. They have a program where you can pay $39 for the entire year. You get groceries delivered to your door. That's with the discount, but they offer discounts a lot. You can get groceries delivered to your door for free. You do not pay a tip. Tipping is not allowed. And you can get all of the same deals, use all of the same digital coupons that you can get in store. Plus, they have extra deals and coupons for people who get grocery delivery. And they offer a significant savings on gas. So we are saving way more in fuel than we paid for the membership. So it's paying for itself and then quite a bit. And we're getting groceries delivered to our door. So it's, really figuring out your season of life and what works for you. But I think the biggest thing that I encourage people is start really small. Like if you're not paying attention at all to how much money you're spending on groceries, if you don't have a budget at all, let's start there. Let's start with the basics. So, I say to always start with $40 to $50 per person per week. Let's set that as your food budget for the week. And so, if you have 4 people in your family, that's going to be somewhere between $160 to $200 for your budget. And if that feels just super, super small, well then pick a higher number. But start with a budget, start somewhere, and then really intentionally say, okay, we're going to try to shave 1% to 3% off this budget every single month for the next 10 to 18 months. And it might feel like, well, that's hardly anything, but over the course of 10 to 18 months, that's really going to start adding up to significant savings, but it's not going to burn you out. So that's what I'm always looking for, is ways to encourage moms to be able to save money in a way that is not going to stress them out, take a ton of time, feel overwhelming, or that maybe they're going to, do this crazy thing that they save 50% off their grocery budget for 3 weeks, but then they're going to crash and burn. I want something sustainable for you. And so that's what I really try to encourage.
Yeah, I love all of this so much. Okay, so where can our moms find coupons online? I mean, is there a central site where all the coupons are? Do you scan Google? What do you do?
So I would say with starting with a budget, once you have the budget in place, then I would say to look at what stores are in your area, because I can't tell you what's going to work exactly for you without knowing what stores you have in your area. And so really look at, if you only have Walmart, then you're probably going to more focus on, let's stick with simple meals that have inexpensive ingredients, and also looking for ways that you can shop online. For instance, we post lots of deals that are food deals on Amazon that are going to beat the Walmart prices. And a lot of times on moneysavingmom.com, we'll say, like, this is $1 cheaper than what you can get at Walmart. And so, you can kind of piece together, do some of your shopping at Walmart in store, and then do some of your shopping online, sticking with your budget. So I really think it's important to pay attention to what stores are in your area. And I would really encourage you to think outside the box, not just grocery stores, although I would start with that. Go to their website, see what kind of offers. Do they have digital coupons on their website? Do they have some sort of perks if you sign up for a free card? And just also Google, is there someone in your area or someone who kind of specializes in that store? For instance, Kroger, there is a site called Kroger Crazy with a K, and they just do Kroger deals. And there are a lot of different websites that focus specifically on specific stores. For instance, there's southernsavings.com. They focus on stores that are in the South. And so finding someone who covers deals at your store, you could just search for Publix deals, coupon blogger, things like that to try to find someone. And that way they're doing the legwork for you and you're not having to put all the time and effort in. There are also so many great deals online. And this is one thing that we are noticing more and more and more, is that Amazon especially is matching or beating so many deals. I love the site camelcamelcamel.com. If you have not gone there before, what is cool about this site is that you can actually input the price and the item. So let's say you usually shop at Walmart and you just know all of their prices for the things that you buy. You can actually go to Camel and you can put in those prices, and then it will send you an alert if the price goes below that. So you can always know if there's a great deal. We also on moneysavingmom.com are constantly scouring the internet for you to find great deals. There are other sites, for instance, one that I just recently found is called Marty, Martie, and they are like an online discount store. So I love discount grocery stores. Not all areas have them, but they basically are selling things that are going to be expiring soon, but they're still good. And especially if you buy them and put them in your freezer, you don't have to worry about them going bad. But Marty is an online discount store, so you don't have to go shop in store. If you buy a lot of things that are natural, organic, if you have allergies, they have great deals on those. And so thinking outside the box and not just feeling like you're constrained to the stores in your area can be a great way to really be able to maximize your money, but also your time, because I think it's important that we're not just running around like you were talking about to all of these different stores. And so spending a little bit of time every week just to look for some of the great deals, or just following moneysavingmom.com, knowing your prices, having a budget, and then we really try to help you to be able to find the best deals that week to save you time and also hopefully save you money.
I love all of these ideas, and I feel like you're giving our listeners so many great websites. Okay, let's talk about saving money on things other than food, like kids' shoes. I mean, again, as we record this, it's back to school, but really kids can wreck their shoes at any time during the year, right? And like kids' shoes and school supplies and all the things that parents are expected to get their kids to keep them well cared for. Where do we find deals on that?
So kids' shoes are one of the areas that I typically say it's probably smart to buy new. I mean, you can buy used, but buying new. However, there are so many websites that offer great deals. For instance, Dick's Sporting Goods has this kind of spin-off site that's called Going Gone, and they have just all sorts of great sales and clearance deals on name brand shoes. Under Armour also offers great deals all the time where you can get a pair of Under Armour kids shoes for $19 or $16. And so we are often posting those on moneysavingmom.com. I also really encourage people, if you are looking for deals, you know the brand that you want, you know the size that you want, go look online on sites like eBay, Poshmark, ThreadUp, and you can oftentimes find great deals if you're okay with buying used, especially I feel like when it comes to clothes. Clothes are an area where I personally am totally okay with my kids wearing used, especially when they're younger. I'm like, might as well buy them used because they're just going to wear them out, And so ThreadUp is a site that is basically like a big online thrift store. And their prices are higher than you would find at a thrift store. However, they offer great deals. And there are oftentimes coupon codes for 30 to 45 to even 50% off plus free shipping. And so what I do is I go look in the clearance section and then I sort by low to high price. And then I can just see, the things that are just a few dollars. They'll usually have quite a few things that are, $7 or $6. Plus then if you can add a coupon code, then you're going to pay $4 to $5 per item. And a lot of times it's name brand stuff as well. And so I like to be able to kind of have a one-stop sort of place. And I found ThreadUp is great, especially for younger kids' clothes or for like teen girls' clothes. A lot of times my teens, they love to get those on Poshmark if they know exactly the brand and style that they want for something. Looking on Poshmark versus paying full price in store is a great way to be able to buy name brand but still save.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what about like school supplies, right? Like markers, pens, notebooks galore. It seemed like, years ago, schools asked you for a lot less. Like you had to have like 2 number 2 pencils and erasers, and now it's like this ginormous list depending on the school. So how can parents save money on all that?
So right now is a great time to be buying school supplies if you are in the back to school season because there's so many great deals on them. For instance, Walmart and Amazon right now have quite a few different deals on school supplies that they start at 25 cents. And so, and I was just looking because I was getting my school supplies for my kids and multiple things that were on their list were 25 cents. And so looking online, and I also encourage people, anytime you're shopping online, always look for a coupon code and shop through a cashback site. So you can just Google whatever site you're going to be shopping on, just search, Walmart coupon code, especially if it's not as large of a site, maybe a smaller site. It's much easier usually to find a coupon code, but then also cashback sites, for instance, Rakuten. When you shop through Rakuten, you're going to get cash back on every order. So that's just a great way to increase your savings for something that you're already going to be, spending money on. The other thing I was going to mention is that some schools offer where you can just pay a flat fee and just get all of the supplies, and basically it's just a box with all the supplies. That sometimes is a much better deal than you trying to go run around and try to get all of the things because it's saving you time. And so if your school offers that, I would definitely look into that because we also have to think of time is money and the return on our investment of time. If we're going to be running all over town to try to get things, it might just be a better deal to maybe spend $10 more but save a lot of time.
Yeah, I know one of our daughters, their kids are in a charter school and they offer that. You pay a flat fee if you don't want to do the school shopping and they get everything for you. And so she does that to save time. Her school also, the kids wear uniforms, but several times a year they have a uniform like resale program because kids don't generally wear out their uniforms. They just grow out of them, right? So that can be a help, What about, this is a random thought, but what about saving money on travel? Like if you want to get away from your kids for a weekend, you just need a little break. You love your kids, but it's time for you and your hubby to get away. Are there travel deals?
Oh, yes. So many travel deals. I would say, so if you're willing to be flexible on your dates and where you go, there are so many options out there. And so I've also found, I was actually just asking my audience recently about saving money, and so many people said to book on Tuesday, which I thought was very interesting. It used to, yes. And so they said to book on Tuesday, that's when you can find the best deals. And so we've also found that if you book like a package deal, for instance, like Travelocity or something like that, a lot of times they will offer package deals that if you're willing to do you don't know exactly where you're staying kind of situation, but you just know, oh, it's a 3-star or 4-star or something hotel, then you can oftentimes get a really great deal by doing that. My brother, actually, he was just recently visiting us in Nashville, and he wanted to go with one of his friends, and they wanted to stay at a hotel, and he was looking at all of the hotel rates, and it was like $250 a night. For some reason, Nashville, sometimes just the prices are ridiculously expensive for hotels. So he booked it, I believe it was on Travelocity, and he just got where it was like, you don't know where you're staying, and he got it for $100 and that was including tax and everything, just by being willing to be a little adventuresome. And he ended up, it was a really nice place that he stayed in. He was like, I would have paid so much more. So if you're willing to have a lot of wiggle room in where you're going to go, it was a number of years ago, but we wanted to take our kids somewhere internationally. And so we had dates, and we had a budget, but we didn't know where we were going to go. And so I literally just started searching online for deals, and I found that I could get amazing ticket prices to Iceland. And so we're like, okay, that's where we're going, and so being willing to, be a little bit, creative, think outside the box as far as and not be set on this is where we're going and this is when we're going. We found that we can find a lot of great deals by that. And I also look at kind of all the surrounding dates. So maybe if we leave a day later or stay a day longer, will that significantly cut down on the price as well?
Mm-hmm. I learned to be very, very flexible when my husband was on sabbatical, because somebody gave us standby tickets. So we would want to get away, and we would decide if we were going to go someplace hot or cold so that we had the right clothes, but you only take a carry-on. And then we would go to literally an airport, see what flight we could get on, and get on that flight. And then my husband would quickly go on the computer and find a place for us to stay. And it was such an adventure. It was wildly great for our marriage. It was definitely an adventure, but we had a lot of fun that year. And we saved a lot of money, because somebody had given us standby tickets. So, but I think spiritually, this is such a great conversation, Crystal, because I think there's a lot of emphasis in our culture on getting rich, but our money, our resources, our home, everything belongs to the Lord, right? And what I love about your stuff is you're showing us how to save money so that we can be generous. How have you taught that to your kids?
I really think it starts with what we model before our kids. And so for us, it's living that out. And it's not just being generous with our money, but also just with our life. So being willing to open up our door and have people in our home. Like, that's one thing. I think sometimes giving of our time and giving of our stuff, as in like bringing people into your home, and sometimes stuff gets ruined, stuff gets messed up, stuff gets messy. But for me, that's just a heart posture of like, it's all yours, God. So It's really okay, like not clinging tightly to anything that we have on this earth, but just living with hands wide open. That's been so good for me. And I always just think of this visual of just flinging our door wide open and being like, come on in. And so for us, that's been through foster care. That's been through opening up our home in situations where, things have gotten broken and messed up, and, but it's okay. Like it's all God's. And so living that example before our kids, and then also giving them opportunities where they have to live sacrificially as well. And foster care has been one way that we've done that. We've also taken them on mission trips to places where there was a lot of poverty, and allowing them to just really get to see firsthand that, they have so many gifts that they didn't realize, but then also for them to see that just because people don't have things doesn't mean that they don't have joy. And I think that that's such an important concept for our kids to understand, that stuff does not buy happiness. And yes, getting in a better financial place can mean that there's a lot less stress. But I look back at the early years of our marriage and realize that that's when I learned contentment. When we didn't have money to even shop at thrift stores because there just wasn't money. We had to make do with what we had. I learned that it was enough. And really to learn to find Jesus is where our true contentment is in. And he is the only one who can fill a hole in our heart. And so often we're trying to buy more things, do more things, have these experiences in order to fill something that only God can fill. And so I think it's good for us to experience times where we don't have a lot, where we're in a space where we're kind of giving up the last drop of what we have, whether that's of our time or whether that's of our resources, because it forces us to learn to really rely upon the Lord and to find him to be so faithful. And then it gives us that foundation from which to live, that we know that he is always enough. So no matter what happens in the world, I feel like there's a lot of people right now who are really stressed about just the world in general, and then also finances, to get to that place of knowing that, you know what, if all we have is Jesus, that's all we need. And he is enough. And no more money. I just was writing a post on this, that it's not an elected official. It's not it's not a change in policy. It's not a person. It's not possessions that are going to ultimately, but what is going to give us long-lasting fulfillment and happiness. It's truly just Jesus. And so finding our hope in him and living that before our kids, I think that that's one of the greatest gifts that we can give to them, because it's going to give them that solid foundation to know that if all I have someday is Jesus, he's going to be enough.
Oh, that is such a great place for us to end this podcast, actually, Crystal, because I couldn't agree with you more. And I look back on my married life and our life raising kids and the times where we didn't know where the next meal would come from or whatever. God has always been faithful, and Jesus really is enough, and he's everything. And so I just can't thank you enough for being on our podcast. We're going to put your website in the show notes. I'm going to advertise your book in our show notes. And moms, I hope that you're going to visit Crystal on her website and on her blog, because it is so rich, no pun intended, but it is so rich in content. And we want to give you tools that really will help you to be able to live your life well connected with your kids without being so stressed out over money. So, Crystal, would you just close us out with prayer?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for every woman who is listening today, and you know the needs of her heart. You know where she's struggling. Maybe she's feeling really financially strapped right now, and it just feels like this heavy burden on her heart because she just doesn't know how all the money is going to work, and it doesn't seem like it's going to work out on paper, and there are so many needs, and she just can't ever get ahead. Or maybe she's feeling stressed in her marriage, or just stressed about unknowns in the future, stressed about a child who is really struggling, or a friendship that is crumbling, or just a dream that she's losing, or something that she's grieving. I just pray for every woman that they would feel your arms around them, just comforting them, that they would feel so carried by you, and that ultimately they would know that you are enough, that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws their way, that in the midst of it, they can take comfort and take hope because you are Emmanuel, God with us, and you have not forsaken them. You will be with them in this, and you will see them through this, and they will see your glory in the midst of hard things. That's where you shine. And so, God, I just pray for every woman listening that she would just feel your presence today and feel so loved by you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much for Becky and for her heart to love and serve and give to so many women. And I just pray that she would be blessed abundantly for how she pours out to others. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Hey, Crystal, thanks for being with us. You're incredible. I love having you on this podcast. And moms, thanks for joining us today. And I hope you'll join us again next week for another episode. And hey, today's episode was so powerful. I sure hope you're going to share it with your friends. Join us again next week on the Connected Mom podcast.